actually can change or what affects these guys' dollars, I think you need to look no further than what the NBA and the players did this week as far as stepping out and refusing to play. What the Milwaukee Bucks did, that is an impact. That is flexing the power that you have to make sure that you're eliciting some sort of change. And I don't know if you want to break down exactly what happened as far as Milwaukee in the NBA, but I just thought as far as actually changing things, I think the players need to understand the power that they have.
Well, so there was a shooting in Wisconsin. I can't pronounce the
Kenosha.
And then the gentleman's name was Jacob Blake. He was walking back to his car, opened the door, got shot 7 times in the back. He's paralyzed from the waist down, apparently. He survived, thank goodness.
Yeah.
But he's still handcuffed to a hospital bed.
Yep.
I heard his attorney came out and said that he was no longer handcuffed.
Oh, they let him out? But, for days after being shot and paralyzed, he was still handcuffed to a hospital bed.
Yeah. So the Buccaneers, who play in Wisconsin.
The Bucks.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Jesus. The Bucks.
The Buccaneers play in Tampa Bay.
Tom Brady has a lot of power. They can play wherever they want to.
Now my friend John's going to watch this and be like, oh, look, Jimmy, you keep talking about the Bucks. Yeah, whatever.
I agree. You're obsessed.
No, stop it. So the Bucks had a game against the Magic. I think it was game 4 or 5.
It was the closeout game.
5.
Yeah, it was a closeout game. So I guess the Bucks won 4. Yeah, because they lost the first one.
It was 3-1.
And then George Hill apparently, like, before the game in the locker room was like, hey, I don't think we should play. And then the Bucks team was behind him, and they just boycotted the game. And then the Magic decided not to accept the forfeit. So they left too. So then that caused a whole ripple effect where all the games for the next, 2 days, just nobody played.
Well, the NBA postponed them.
Nah, that's bullshit. The same thing that MLS said. The players decided not to play. Then the MLS came out and said a statement we decided to postpone, in the little tweet. And then one of the players who organized the shit, quote tweeted it and said, no, we decided we're not playing. Don't try to change the narrative. You didn't postpone shit. We said we're not playing.
I think it's one of those situations where, which I'm used to, where you get pulled into the office to get fired and you quit. Yeah. It was one of those things where it was the NBA knew what was happening, and in order to before they could let the other teams have their say, they knew where the wind was blowing and just said, "Hey, fuck it, we're gonna postpone everything."
You can't fire me. I quit.
Right.
But then, let's go into the meeting that brought the NBA back.
Wait, didn't LeBron also say he wasn't gonna play, and then they shut everything down?
There's a lot of conflicting info on what happened in the meeting.
Yeah. Did you see the report from Chris?
I posted the Yahoo article, which was the first one that broke exactly what it is they said happened in the meeting, but there were a lot of players afterwards that said, no, that's not what happened. It made Patrick Beverley look like an asshole.
I only listen to Waj. Any other news is fake news.
That's actually a good philosophy of basketball.
He's the only, if I'm LeBron James, I'm only texting Woj.
Woj.
And Woj, whatever. Woj an asshole.
Follow the man and you don't even know how to say his nickname.
Man, nobody knows how to say his full name.
In that article, I didn't like how they did it. Where they just had that one quote from Beverly saying and I pay your salary, so you gotta listen to us.
I sadly forget the woman's name, but it's she's
Gail Roberts.
Yeah, she's the what's her exact title? But she's higher up as far as whether it be the NBA, the NMLP, the NBA PA or whatever. She's one that really fights on the players, or she was breaking down to the players what the financial ramifications would be. If you say what the article is saying is correct, was breaking down what the financial ramification would be in long term as far as what the CBA and other issues could be if the players decided not to play. And apparently in the article, allegedly, according to the article, Patrick Beverley told her, hey, I pay your salary, so I don't want to basically hear from you. And it caused a stir from Chris Paul and Andre Iguodala, who are the 1 and 2 as far as the players go in the players union. But there's word coming out that said Patrick Beverley never said anything like that. There's also the talk as far as when shit started happening, you had LeBron basically say, hey, look, I ain't fucking playing. And he gets up and walks out. And the Clippers follow suit. And they're like, we're not playing any more games. Then there was the talk as far as what was happening behind the scenes. A lot of what it looks like happened in that article didn't actually happen. At least when you're looking at what has come out of it, right?
Yeah, like there was a quote from Danny Green, right, who plays for the Lakers, and he said something that kind of corroborated like what I was thinking in terms of like some of the stuff that I've heard, that LeBron was pissed off at the Bucks for doing it because they didn't have a plan. They didn't talk to anybody. They just did the shit. Like, and Danny Green said, like, I'm sure he's talked to LeBron, right? And he was like, well, if we say we're not playing, right, because of this, what the fuck is going to make us play again? Like, what's going to happen to make us play again?
Right.
And it's like nobody thought of that. So it's like, I hear you, George Hill. Like, I'm with you. At the same time, let's have something like together. Like, if we're not going to play, let's just not play.
Well, it was the same argument that
– go home.
It's the same argument before the bubble.
Yeah, Kyrie. And
right.
Yeah, so –
but that was the thing. It was like, even when we had talked about this as far as what they should do, I know that I was firm in my standing that I don't think they should play. COVID was one reason, but I also thought as far as the protests go. And the reason it was is that regardless of whatever it is that was coming out, it never sounded like all the players were on the same page. And you even see when it came to the NBA, we were even at a point where you're blaming the higher-ups in the NBA when it looked like right before the bubble started, the shit was going to fall apart again, is that, all right, what are we going to do? What are we asking for? What do we want if we're not going to play? If you're going to hold the owner's feet to the fire, if you're going to hold the league's feet to the fire, you got to have something that you want. And if you don't have anything you want, you're just doing it for the sake of doing it. Now, sometimes that can work. Maybe you just want time to go spend with your family, go protest. That's cool, but it's not using your platform to the best of its abilities. Right. You either don't show up, and in that realm, you're using your platform to bring awareness to certain things or bringing, hey, I need X, Y, and Z to happen. But we never really got that. All we got was that, all right, the players can put things on the back of their jerseys. They're going to be Black Lives Matters on the court. They're going to sing the Negro spiritual anthem in front of the games along with the Star Spangled Banner. Okay.
Take a knee, and they'll
be all right, great. We solved racism. Like, what the fuck? Like, it's not – but I will say that for the first time – regardless of how it is we got there, I will give props to Giannis. I will give props to George Hill. I'm giving mad props to Milwaukee Bucks as far as showing people for the first time that you have the power to not show up. I think that somebody had to do it. And the fact that they did it, it changed the entire landscape of sports. Baseball canceled games. You had all these different leagues basically said that we can't play because now we even look bad if we do. That's why NHL caught so much shit, was that it took them so long to get anything figured out as far as what the fuck they were going to do.
Yeah, they put up a stupid-ass announcement, like the announcers like saying something, and I'm like, what is that?
But look at what they got. So in order for them to come back to the bubble, you now have all, and this is something that I even brought up before the protests happened. I put this as one of the things that I thought that they should demand. Every NBA arena is going to be a voting center in November. That is big. But that's something that should have been demanded before they even set foot in the fucking bubble.
Well, I think, and I just reading through the timeline of what happened, I think the Milwaukee Bucks not playing was the catalyst. And then I think when the players, I believe it was the Lakers and Clippers, voted to boycott the rest of the season and just shut it down and go home, I think that gave them the opportunity to then have a meeting, discuss amongst themselves and amongst the NBA Players Association what they actually wanted. I know they spoke, LeBron and a number of other players spoke with President Obama. Yeah. And after this meeting and after speaking with the former president, they came to the conclusion that these are the things we want. And we also think that continuing to play, if these things are met, is our best platform. And after that, they finally had some sort of constructive plan, which they could now go forward and implement. And if you watch what LeBron said, I think it was yesterday, when they were asking him about what the owners had said to him, said, well, they gave me their word. And so for right now, I'm going to hold them to their word. And if they don't, well, we'll deal with it then. And then he gave one of those wry smiles. I mean, as LeBron goes, so does the NBA. And that's just how it is right now. So if LeBron is 100% on board, and obviously Chris Paul, who's the number one for the NBA Players Union, if they're both on board, I know LeBron can hold the entire NBA hostage if he so chose. And there's a number of other players that are the same caliber. But
here's a question.
Space. And I think this is just, obviously it's a diving board. It's just a start. But it's a pretty good start. And I think that what should have happened 2 months ago happened now. But I'm glad to see that they are using their platform, which is not just playing. It is also being a member of the NBA and having the power to say, no, not going to do it. And then you saw the ripple effect, MLB, NHL, who is it's a heavily white league. I get it. But you have some of your biggest stars, your Doombas come out saying, what the fuck are you guys doing? And then the NHL finally realized, hey, we need to be on the right side of this. So good for them.
Yeah. So it's a little bit off topic, kind of, but kind of on topic too. I had this argument or debate earlier this week. We were talking about like how you said where LeBron goes, the league goes, right? Would you say the same for Chris Paul?
Yeah. And the only
being
reason,
the president of the
he's
union.
the president of the Players Association. So
who would you see is more important to the league, like in terms of the future, Chris
LeBron.
Paul or Giannis?
Or Giannis?
Yeah,
Giannis. What he just did, and yeah. I was watching it was either today or yesterday. All my days are fucking blended together. He had talked to so Kenosha, Wisconsin is about an hour away from where the Bucks play. Yeah. So he had talked to Mr. Blake, the father of Jake. And after that, I think it was
Chris Paul did too.
Yeah. I mean, you have to be they're obviously in the bubble, but you also have to have your feet on the ground and your ears to the ground. And I think Giannis going out of his way to talk to his father, he finally is like, we can't play. Like, we can't play until something is done. So, and like I said, I think there are a lot of stars that have the same leverage, but in terms of what's going to, as a person watching the NBA, who has more of an effect on me outside of the fact that, I watch every game, all sports. If I didn't, and I was just on the outside and LeBron said something versus if Chris Paul said something, LeBron's going to have obviously the bigger impact. Yeah. But in terms of the players who have all the power, I'd say LeBron and Chris Paul are probably on even keel because Chris Paul's the head of the players.
Yeah. I would say I understand that logic, and I think right now in the status quo, it's probably true. I do think it's a fallacy that we all fall into, though. And the reason I say that is that there is something to be said about unity. There is something to be said about having everybody on the same page. I think everybody has a role to play, but the most powerful aspect of it is for everybody to be on the same page. If LeBron said, hey, I'm not playing, look, it might hurt to a certain degree, but as polarizing a figure as LeBron James is right now, the NBA would continue. It might be lower than what it is, but it would still continue. And it's a lot of what it is they said in that article was between what the Patrick Beverley deal was and what the woman was that you have a lot of these players out here that do not have the money that a LeBron has or the money that a Chris Paul has, that if they were to take that shot and saying that I'm not going to play, they don't have the same luxuries that you have other players do. It reminds me of James, thank you for making sure that I listened to the Joe Budden podcast this week. As far as what it is they're doing, as far as if you don't know, I'm not going to need the details, but Joe Budden's leaving Spotify, and he went through a list of reasons why he was doing so. And in that, he also brought up the example of Dennis Rodman. And Dennis Rodman, everybody talks about how fucked over he got on that contract after watching The Last Dance, right? Scottie Pippen. Sorry, Dennis Rodman. Scottie Pippen. What you end up having is you have a situation where you don't know what that man or what these men are going through. If you got a guy like Scottie Pippen who has how many siblings, a mother that he needs to take care of, that you have all these things that all gravitate towards what it is that you're doing. I can't blame you for wanting or needing to play to make money. But this is where leadership really comes in. This is where you have the LeBrons, the guys that have made this X amount of dollars, stepping in and doing what it is they can to take care of their own, if we're all going to be on the same page. What I need the lesson to be out of this entire thing is that if we are on the same page, we can affect change. We do not know the power that we wield because everybody's so splintered. It's the same thing I look at the Joe Budden podcast. If you had Rory or Mal not on the same page as trusting Joe, this whole thing wouldn't work as far as what it is they're trying to do. When you had Kyrie talking about, like, if they don't want to do for us, we now have the capital to create our own. And it's true, but we don't believe it. We do not believe it. And I look at that from the top all the way down. If every worker in an Amazon warehouse said, fuck this, we ain't showing up to work tomorrow, unless they're going to give us what we need, the company crumbles. They can't do anything. Now, you might have a Jeff Bezos to be like, look, I got $200 billion. I don't give a fuck. I don't care if the company crumbles because I got mine already. Then let's get behind somebody who can run a company that will take care of us, that will stand for us, that will do the things that we need them to do. We have power already, but they do such a good job of making us think that we don't, or that we have to follow this guy or follow that guy or wait for this guy, that we don't do that shit. And we need everybody to step up. I am my brother's keeper. If you got $200 million and I got pennies and we need to fight for the same cause, help me get to that level. That's what I need from the leadership. That's what I need everybody to get on the same fucking page. And what was bothering me from beginning of the bubble, before the bubble, to when we start seeing these games start happening, I understand what the players are saying. Yo, we out here dribbling this goddamn basketball. Everybody on the news talking about how great a job Luka did. We ain't fucking talking about the shit that matters anymore. The arrest the cops that shot Breonna Taylor ends up being a fucking meme now. It's just something you throw on the end of shit. We're not doing shit the way that we need to do shit. When you got the Milwaukee Bucks saying, look, if they said we ain't fucking playing another game unless we hear from the attorney general, unless we hear from the district attorney in that area and know what the fuck is going on, until we know these cops are arrested, we ain't doing shit. We should be able to have their back so we are getting this shit done together. Because the higher-ups, those fucking masters, don't give a fuck about us. So we got to figure out how we need to do to flex our shit to get shit done. And I'm sick and tired of fucking waiting. I'm sick and tired of them fucking splintering us off so that we feel as though we're powerless. We're not. We have power. They don't exist without us. And we need to figure that shit out.
That reminds me of, you remember Mario Balotelli when he said that the player, like, I remember, I don't know if y'all laughed at me on this one.
I did. I laughed at you because of exactly what I'm saying. I'm guilty of it sometimes too, of not seeing it. That, like, if you got a guy like Balotelli, what's his name?
Mario Balotelli.
They have the money.
But that's the thing, is that everybody right now is looking for that quick fix to get theirs. I'm gonna take care of me and mine.
Yeah, but look, this is what he's saying. If, like, ever since, like, when you play football, right? You're as a kid, like you start playing as a kid. So these little boys, like little kids, are hearing all this racist shit ever since they're babies. After a while, you're gonna get tired of it. And Mario Balotelli's been tired of it. He plays in fucking Italy.
They throw bananas at him.
Yeah. They make monkey chants, all the shit every game. Like, some of them are even his own, like, fans. And he's like, no, fuck this. A lot of the stars in football, soccer, are black. Like, we can go to fucking Africa, build stadiums with our own money, and just play there.
And the thing is, it doesn't even, and if you're not black and you want to be a part of something that actually helps, then you join in. But what we can't do is continue to feed the motherfuckers that don't give a shit about us.
Yeah.
We can't keep doing that shit.
It's Black Lives Matter, which doesn't exclude other people who also agree that Black Lives Matter. That is a very important distinction that I think goes over a lot of people's heads.
But that's just what they just in Delaware. Didn't they just burn down the Jewish Center at one of the universities? I was posting shit about that stuff. Nobody wants to talk about this shit, but I look at those as my brothers, man. Those are my brothers and my sisters. They're the same ones that try to fight for my shit. That I need to fight for them too.
When they do that?
Like a couple days ago.
Yeah.
I didn't.
That shit don't. And that's the thing is that when I talk to my Jewish friends, they're like, "Man, this ain't making the news." It's like, oh, I understand Black Lives Matter, but like, yo, this shit ain't making the news. Like, we're scared. Like, if you look at all the articles and shit that happened to us, like, we're not getting anything.
They're using the guise of protesting or counter protesting to forward their own agenda.
Same thing like that motherfucker at the AutoZone in Minneapolis who come to find out was what? A fucking white supremacist trying to start some shit. Now, I got my own thought process right now as far as the rioting and the looting. I've even talked to some of the protesters right now telling them that, hey, we at this particular point in time, we might need to fucking listen to the curfew. Because these motherfuckers out here right now got a president and got law enforcement on a level in which they feel it's okay and they feel justified to grab their guns and come and shoot our asses. And we don't need no more motherfucking martyrs. We don't need martyrs to get the shit done anymore. Yeah. We don't need people dying to get the shit done anymore. We just got to be smarter about it. And that's why I'm trying to school these youth, trying to school people that are younger than me, that there are certain ways that we can go about this shit. You got energy. We need that energy, but we need it formalized in a way that makes sense. And you see it even with the NBA. You got some of these young cats that are just angry. They want to do something, but they don't have the guidance to the leadership to do it. This is the first time I've actually seen them reach out. The fact that LeBron reached out to Barack Obama, to reach out to people that know their shit, there needs to be lawyers that they're talking to. There need to be economists that they're talking to.
There was I know at least a couple of the NBA owners are either current or former like senators and governors. Like those are the people that affect change. Yeah.
Right.
Put your foot on their neck and then
burning shit indiscriminately don't do a goddamn thing.
And here's the thing. I was having this conversation with one of my friends this week. If it's funny you should bring up the curfew. If at curfew time or after curfew time when all the looting and burning and shit is happening, if all the video footage is just of white people running around burning shit, you'll see the narrative change very quickly. Mm-hmm. The point is that if they can point a camera at, a mall getting looted and burnt down and there's a black face in the crowd, it's not a good look.
No, it's already done. That's the thing is that the looters and the rioters right now, the way that I'm a Fox News watcher, the way that they look at it is they're looking at it as two things. Black Lives Matter and Antifa, the boogeyman, Antifa. And Antifa is not looked upon as any but white people. They're looking at white people and they're saying that they're the agitators. They're the ones that are doing this or doing that. So now we need the law and order people, which is why you got the motherfuckers in pickup trucks in Portland with Trump flags, shoot motherfuckers with paintball guns, getting the fucking thumbs up from the cops. That's why you got this asshole that decided to go to grab his gun, 17-year-old kid. They get him and his mom, and they go across state lines with their fucking guns. You see the picture of his mom all decked out in her fucking gear, and they go out and look. You going into a neighborhood that ain't fucking yours, protecting your shit when all you want to do is fucking go out there and kill some Negroes. That's what the fuck you want to do.
It's U.S. law that you're never allowed to use deadly force to protect property.
That motherfucker ain't going to jail. He ain't. Nope. That first degree charge they hitting him with, he ain't doing it. You look at the demographics of that fucking town. You see what that jury's going to fucking be. And you're going to see these assholes saying the self-defense thing. I will never understand is that it is justifiable to use murder to kill someone in a response to property damage. When a motherfucker wants to do property damage in response to a murder, we get chastised for it. Yeah. What I'm saying is that overall, there are a lot of places that have these castle doctrines. There are a lot of places that have these stand your ground laws. There are a lot of these places where, look, you can tell me all day long as far as the self-defense thing. I saw in Ferguson, Missouri, where you had a cop with a gun and you had Michael Brown that didn't have a gun, and you had the cop get off. I see George Zimmerman and doing what he did to Trayvon Martin, and he got off, and now signing fucking Skittle packets at Comic-Con to give to motherfuckers, and he's making money off of it. Right now, I don't have any justification or rhyme or reason to think that this system is ever going to work for us in its status quo. And what I don't want to see happen is I need to see people utilizing and figuring out how the system itself works and what it is we need to do to leverage it to make sure that we're getting what we need to get. It starts with voting, and if you don't have a candidate that's doing what it is that you need them to do, run your goddamn selves. Like, this is where we're at. But we need to know who's on board, and we need to do it smartly. We need to do it smartly.
Now,